I'm gonna cross the river Jordan, moving on to the good land. I'm crossing over the river Jordan to the land that He placed in my hand.
Hallelujah to the 12 tribes worldwide. This is Elder Yechezk'el, and we are the Ark of New Jersey, the Awakening Remnant Coalition of New Jersey. Hallelujah. Last week we did a study and we started on the Valley of Decision. And today we're going to pick up the Valley of Decision Part 2. We all have decisions to make in our life. Some decisions really aren't very, very important. I just purchased something this week, and standing at the cash register, I did one of those computerized cash registers, so we don't need a person there, right, to take your money. And I scanned the item, set it aside, and then it asked me, do you want to have insurance for another $5? Like, I paid $50 for it. Now you want another $5? You want it? No, thank you. But I was in the valley of decision. Do I want to put insurance on this piece of machinery that I was purchasing? Like I said, it cost $50. The issue is, we don't have true insurance on ourselves, and we're right at the cash register, ready to clock in, clock out, and we don't want to take the chance of putting that whatever is required to make sure that we have insurance. Speaking of soul insurance, right? So this is a valley of decision that we're going to look at, and we're going to look at go back to Joel, the 3rd chapter. And before we go there, somebody go to, this has been a verse that I've been hearing a lot of and been thinking about a lot. Romans 15:4. Because the question keeps showing up and keeps coming my way is, why are you guys an Old Testament book? Are you a New Testament? Do you only read part of the Bible? Or do you believe in Jesus? These are questions that every day someone's pretty much, when I tell them who I am and what I am, they want to ask those similar questions. So let's quickly, Romans 15 and 4. See if I got the right verse here.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
For whatever was written in the former days was written for instruction, that through endurance and through the encouragement of the Scriptures we might have hope.
Okay, so whatever was written aforetime is written for our learning and through patience and comforts of the Scripture that we might have hope. So what does that mean? It means we have to go into before time and read, right? If you really want to have the hope, you want to have the insurance, you have to read through the Scripture. He's not talking about what was written yesterday. He's talking about what was written in the Old Testament or the previous covenant before the renewed covenant. So you have to go back and read through that. And then when we were talking about eschatology, what's going to happen at the end times, there are some things that are written aforetime to warn us. And we talked about Joel last week, and I think we went to Acts 2, and what was her name? Anna, the prophetess. she was like, is it time? Is it time for the kingdom, him to restore the kingdom? And she was looking for the prophet to come. And when she saw the prophet, she was like, okay, this must be time. Okay, so she was right on who was to come, and she saw the Yeshua, and she was already aware that this is the one to come. But the restoring of the kingdom didn't take place yet, and it's the day of the Lord, the day of Yahweh. So let's go to Joel 3, because that's where we were at yet last week. And Joel 3, verse 1, for behold, in those days and at that time, when I will bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, and I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and my heritage Israel, whom ye have scattered amongst all the nations, and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they may drink. And yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zion, and all ye coasts of the Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And yea, if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, I will return your recompense upon your own head, because you have taken my silver and my gold and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold to the Grecians, that ye may remove them far from the border. For I will not turn away your recompense therefore, because ye did pursue my brother and with a sword, and did cast off all pity and anger, did ye tear what's that word? Perpetually, and he kept his, and have kept his wrath. Okay, so I done skipped. Oh yeah, my goodness! I jumped 2 pages. I'm like, what is that?
You should have been at verse 7.
Yeah. All right, so I skipped through that. I'm sorry. And behold, we're going to cut that off. And behold, I will cast them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will set your sons and your daughters into the land of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabaeans, and for a people afar off. For the Lord has spoken this. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, and let them come. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hook into shears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come. All ye heathen, gather yourselves together around about. Hither come all ye mighty ones. Let the heathen be wakened, and come to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there I will set judge all the heathen round about. Hallelujah. So we talked about this in the valley of Jehoshaphat, Joel 3, 1 through 12. So looking at the Valley of Jehoshaphat, the first question that comes across my mind is, okay, what is this Valley of Jehoshaphat? And can we get a better glimpse of what this is? So, just looking at text, it makes me want to investigate about the Valley of Jehoshaphat. So, looking in the concordance, if you're not familiar with the Bible, you hear the word Jehoshaphat and you're like, what does that mean? So if you go into your concordance and find the word Jehoshaphat, you're going to find, oh, there's a person. So then that makes me want to go and investigate and find where is he, and let's do some basic education. Find him and read up on him. So Jehoshaphat's first mentioned in 2 Chronicles chapter 15. And so, chapter 15. And we see that he was a son of Asa, and his son was judging over the people, and his son passed. And he set up as the new king. So let's read a little bit so we can get a heads up on who is Jehoshaphat. Starting at 2 Chronicles chapter 16.
Verse 1?
Yes, verse 1.
In the 36th year of the reign of Asa, Baasha, king of Israel, went up against Judah and built Ramah, that he might permit no one to go out or come in to Asa, king of Judah. Then Asa took silver and gold from the treasures of the house of Yah and the king's house, and sent them to Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, who lived in Damascus, saying, There is a covenant between me and you, as there was between my father and your father. Behold, I am sending to you silver and gold. Go, break your covenant with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may withdraw from me. And Ben-Hadad listened to King Asa, and sent the commanders of his armies against the cities of Israel. And they conquered Ijon, Dan, Abel-Maim, and all the store cities of Naphtali. And when Baasha heard of it, he stopped building Ramah, and let his work cease. Then King Asa took all Judah, and they carried away the stones of Ramah and its timber, with which Baasha had been building, and with them he built Geba and Mitzpah. At that time Hanani the seer came to Asa king of Judah, and said to him, Because you relied on the king of Syria, and did not rely on Yahuwah Elohim, the army of the king of Syria has escaped you. Were not the Ethiopians and the Libyans a huge army, with very many chariots and horsemen? Yet because you relied on Yahuwah, he gave them into your hand. For the eyes of Yahuwah run to and fro throughout the earth, to give strong support to those whose heart is blameless toward him. You have done foolishly in this, for from now on you will have wars. Then Asa was angry with the seer, and put him in the stocks in prison, for he was in a rage with him because of this. And Asa inflicted cruelties upon some of the people at the same time. The acts of Asa from first to last are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. In the 39th year of his reign, Asa was diseased in his feet, and his disease became severe. Yet even in his disease he did not seek Yahuwah, but sought help from physicians. And Asa slept with his fathers, dying in the 41st year of his reign. They buried...
Okay, so Asa, the king, right, made allegiance with someone as opposed to staying with Yahweh and trusting with Yahweh. This whole mindset that he had was, I'll get better if I line up with these people. And so he made allegiance with someone And it's very important as we go forward in this text, who you partner up with, who is your allegiance, who is your, who's on the Lord's side. So we living in a day and a time where everybody wants us to take allegiance with them. And this is important because Jehoshaphat was watching this whole thing. He watched his dad. He seen what was going on. And he saw his dad turning from Yahweh and taking allegiance with an evil force. It's important who we line ourselves up with, who we make a vow with, who we are in agreement with. His dad he's looking at his dad and he's like, man, this is not cool. And then when the prophet comes and tells him the error in his walk, what does he do to the prophet?
Knocked him up and tortured him. Well, it doesn't say he tortured him, but
He locked his butt up.
Well, he did torture him. He put him in stocks.
oh
Right?
yeah,
Isn't that
in stocks.
that's a torture device?
That's crazy. The prophet comes to try to straighten him out. Try to help him get back on course. You know, occasionally we get off course. We make allegiance with someone. We sign contracts. And we're like, yeah, well, this is going to be better for me to get through something. And then someone comes along and says, no, you shouldn't be doing this. You're off course. And because it's the prophet, we're ready to lock them up. So even if you can't lock him up, you find a way to put him away. Right? Really, pretty much he thought, how can I get this guy out of my face? I'll lock him up. He won't come back again. That's us finding a way of getting away from the prophet, one way or the other. And his son's looking at him, right? And then, because of his disobedience, what was the result of his disobedience? There was twofold things came across.
Disease in his feet.
Go back to 9 first.
No, yeah.
What's that?
Wars.
Wars. Because of his disobedience, there was no peace. Shalom. There was no peace found in his house anymore. It became war. Now it was war upon war upon war because he wanted to be disobedient. Because he wanted to. Like some of us, even when we are told to do right, we still want disobedient. Like someone will tell you, come on, man, you can't do this. You see that it's wrong. And you'll show them in the scripture, right? As a prophet, you'll start prophesying to them and telling them, no, this is wrong. You shouldn't do it this way. And they will put you away, right? And then they'll look and see destruction coming. They'll see war in their life, right? And yet they refuse to accept the scenarios that they're facing. Because that has nothing to do with the other thing, right? So then, wars. What was the second thing? First thing, disease. So he got disease. The ailment that came upon him was what? It says it right there. Verse 10.
No, that's where he put him in the prison.
Where is it at?
Verse 12.
12. Verse 12. So he had disease in his feet. Right? We talked about this last week. I think someone said it. What was it? What is that?
Gout.
Gout. And so what do you do when you have gout? Oh, you sit out. So, but what is the common procedure in
Do they have to cut it off?
Ooh, no. No, I know a preacher that had gout. Just recently I heard that he had gout. Oh, it was so painful. So what are some of the we're going to assume that this foot disease is gout. So what are some of the things that you do if you have gout?
Stop eating salt.
Stop eating salt.
And red meat, I think, and seafood.
Seafood, red meat.
Yeah.
What? Laura's like, I don't even know. If it hurts that bad, what do we all do when something hurts so bad in our body?
Take medication and go to the doctor.
Take medication and go to the doctor. Most of us go to the doctor because we think we're going to get healed, right? Isn't that what we go for? Healing?
Pain relief.
Pain relief, right? We think that that's going to heal. Jehoshaphat saw this whole thing, right? His father died not because he went to the doctor, but because he didn't go to Yah and change his demeanor. See, a lot of us are dying today. A lot of us need healing, and we will go to the CVS, run down to the nearest drugstore, and we grab medication when our true medication is turning back to Yah. We don't even see the parallel, like how does turning back to Yah heal the body, right? But right here in the book, what is written aforetime is written for our understanding and our patience, right? So if we look at this, his healing would have taken place if he had renounced his partnership with his new alliance and that he had turned back to Yah. He hears the prophet and refuses to be obedient. You know, we have blood pressure, high blood pressure. We have all types of sicknesses, heart disease. We have all kinds of sicknesses that are ravishing the body, but we refuse healing because we won't turn back to Yah. Okay, don't believe me?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Where it says, as it was written in the book of Kings of Judah and Israel.
Yes.
Is that talking about First and Second Kings, or is that like another book?
No, it is.
Okay.
Yes. So you'll find the parallel in First, Second Kings. I'm trying to see if I can find it. First Kings 15. So
Okay. I see.
go ahead. Go 15:23. First Kings 15:23 through 24.
Yeah. Now the rest of all the acts of Asa, all his might and all he did, and the cities that he built are now written. Are they not written in the book of Chronicles of the kings of Judah? But in his old age he was diseased in his feet. And Asa slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David, his father, and Jehoshaphat his son reigned in his place.
Okay. So we may come back there, but that goes on to show us that the testimony of two or more, right? So as you investigate the scripture, you should find, especially in situations like this, it's like he's screaming out to us, right? Telling us that our bodies, there is a parallel universe. What's going on in our spiritual walk is going to affect our physical walk. So you wonder why in Judah, why we suffer with high blood pressure. What are some of the other ailments that we get from eating unclean?
Some of them got gout.
Gout?
And diabetes.
Diabetes? What else? Is there anything else that we can think of right off the bat? That's just from eating wrong. Okay, so what else happens to us in Judah? that we don't even see it hardly in other nations, but we see it in us. How about the hair falling out? We have a serious issue with our hair because we want our hair to look Europeanish. Straighten it. I had a friend come here, and she said, I can't come a certain time because I didn't get my hair done. Remember her? Your friend. But she can't because she's in alignment with a job that tells her you better keep your hair straight. Because if you don't have your hair to a certain way, then you probably won't be accepted. So now we're in a state that has states in the United States are actually passing laws saying you can't have your hair braided or you can't have dreadlocks because it doesn't look. I don't know what are they saying. It doesn't look clean. They're saying that it could be dirty. Like even if we have dreadlocks, we wash our hair. But people with their hair, if you have the European hair, you can have lice, and they think you looking good because you comb through it or whatever. We don't have bugs in our hair. We've been blessed by that. But some of the issues that we have physically are because of our spiritual walk. Okay, so pick it up. Where did you drop off? Where did I interrupt you at?
I was halfway through 14, I guess so.
Yes.
They buried him in the tomb that he had cut for himself in the city of David. They laid him on a bier that had been filled with various kinds of spices prepared by the perfumer's art. And they made a very great fire in his honor. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Jehoshaphat, his son, reigned in his place and strengthened himself against Israel. He placed forces in all the fortified cities of Judah and set garrisons in the land of Judah and in the cities of Ephraim that Asa his father had captured. Yahweh was with Jehoshaphat because he walked in the earlier ways of his father David. He did not seek the Baals, but sought the Elohim of his father, and walked in his commandments, and not according to the practices of Israel. Therefore Yahweh established the kingdom in his hand, and all Judah brought tribute to Jehoshaphat. And he had great riches and honor. His heart was courageous in the ways of Yahweh, and furthermore, he took the high places and the Asherim out of Judah.
Okay, all right. His heart was courageous. I used to like this little cartoon when I was a kid called Courageous Cat. Right? Courageous. There is a verse in Revelations that speaks about the cowardly. Like that's a sin to be a coward. Right? This man was courageous. Like he watched his dad and he said, "Whoa, that was bad. That was horrible. Dad was a great person at one time." And then he started faltering. But he was courageous. And what are some of the acts, the initial acts of Jehoshaphat? Because this is the valley of decision we're talking about, right? And making a decision. So he made decisions early in his walk to walk with Yah. So what were some of the decisions that he made as now reigning as king?
They would that he would have the princes to teach the people Torah again.
Okay.
Basically.
Where do you see it? Because I want everything in the book.
7.
Okay, read it.
We didn't get there yet.
No, we didn't get there yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
I remember
What did he
that.
do? What was his initial? You're good. He did get there. But what was one of the verse 2?
Oh, he placed forces in the fenced cities of Judah.
Okay.
So he set up a army.
He set up a wall. He set up fences. All right. Following the steps of Jehoshaphat. what are some of the walls that we need to, what are some of the fences that we need to set up?
Well, we need to do like the word says and protect our eyes and our ears. So making sure like things that we interact with, people we interact with, and things we watch and listen to are edifying.
And that is, to get to where Jehoshaphat was, he had to realize that there were some things, he was paying attention to his dad, but he was also saying some things got to be shut down. That thing was going on. Some things got to be shut down. Some things have to be fenced up. You know, we have the president of the United States says we're going to build walls. You're like, build this big wall, build this wall, right? Looking at this from a spiritual agenda, we need to set up walls. We need to set up walls that guard our eye gates, right? So let no perverted thing be established, something that we constantly look at, right? You know, we at one time, pornography was only done in magazines and books, right? Or cards, something written. Now it's on the internet. It's on the TV, right? So TV shows, set your guard. Certain things we don't look at. We can't put that in our eye gate because it programs our mind gate, which programs our heart, right? So he started setting up walls to protect Judah. Okay. And something else that Robin just brought up, and we're going to get to that, he started teaching his people. Okay, so where did we stop at? Oh, verse 3. Verse 3.
He didn't seek the Baals.
He stopped seeking Baals. You know what Baals are, right? What's the word for Baal? Lord. Right? So there's a lot of us going to gatherings and we're chasing after false lords, false Baals, right? Baal and Lord, those the words are that's the same word, right? So when we see the word Lord, sometimes it's a false god. All right, so he stopped seeking after Baals. All right, what else? Where are we at?
Verse 7.
Verse 7.
You need to take a room.
Okay. And his heart was lifted up. Oh, wrong one.
No, that's good. Verse
Okay.
6. His heart was lifted up.
Yeah, and his heart was lifted up in the ways of Yahuwah. Moreover, he took away the high places and the Asherah poles out of Yehuda.
Okay, so before we go any further, because his heart was lifted up towards Yah, and he started tearing down all of the high places. And I can't help but go there because this is your decision. That you have to start looking at things and saying, this was good when I was not walking with Yah. Now I'm walking with him. This has to be tore down. This has to be these high places. And we all have high places that we have in our mind and in our heart that has to be tore down. Right? So Jehoshaphat, this is before a battle has taken place. He has already started preparing himself for the battle because he realized that there are certain things that need to be torn down, taken away, if I want to be what Yah has asked me to be. All right, verse 7.
Also in the 3rd year of his reign, he sent to his princes, even to Ben-Hail and to Abdias and to Zachariah, and to Nathaniel, and to Micaiah, to teach in the cities of Yehuda, And with them he sent Levites, even Shema Yahu, and Nethanyahu, and Zebadiyahu, and Ashiel, and Shemai Ramoth, and Yahu Nathan, and Adonai Yahu, and Taviyahu, and Tav Adoniah, and Levites, and with them Elishama and Yehoram priest. And they taught in Yehuda, and had the seeker of the Torah of Yahuwah with them, and went about throughout all the cities of Yehuda, and taught the people. And the fear of Yahuwah fell upon all the kingdoms of the lands that were round about Yehuda, so that they made no war against Jehoshaphat. And some of the Pelishtim brought Jehoshaphat presents and tribute silver, and the Arabians brought him flocks, 7,700 rams, and 7,700 goats. And
Okay, before we get into the greatness of Jehoshaphat, right? Look at what he did. He said they carried what? What did they have in their hands?
Torah.
The Torah. He said he brought all these people. He brought the Levites. He brought everybody because everyone apparently it was like a desert land, which is where we are at today, where everybody's doing anything but reading the book. You can tomorrow, today is Shabbat, tomorrow you can walk into buildings with crosses on them and with statues on the outside of them, and with a gathering of people coming together, and you're going to have everything but the book. Guarantee you that they will not be reading through the book and breaking it open. Are breaking open a verse here and a verse here. Are there, and I've seen this, I witnessed it. Are they going to break open the NIV or another watered down version of the book that does not really bring the meat out, because it's soft answers, smooth sayings, bringing out my word of the year, my storylines of stuff that's outside of the book. Like, who's going to sit here and say, okay, let's read this chapter? It's not going to happen. If you get a book, a good preacher that's going to preach the book and preach a whole chapter, you'll be like, oh my goodness, this is great. Because guess what? For the most part, we're not hearing that. You're going to hear just about anything but the Torah. And these people carried Torah, and he taught, made sure that everyone was, you can't come back to Yah without coming back to his book. It's what's the word, oxymoron, to think that you can find him without searching the scripture. Okay, where are we at? Verse.
I was going to say, it would take out the one part about the eyes of the Lord go to and fro. Like, that's the one verse that they take from this. I think that's 16 and 9.
Verse 16?
Chapter 16, verse 9. How in Christianity, I heard that verse a lot. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the earth. And it's like, that's one verse that's just taken out of context.
Right, and you highlight it, and you're like, okay, that's a good verse.
Good.
That sounds good.
It's poetic.
Yeah. Matter of fact, like I said last week, make it into a bumper sticker. Put it on a t-shirt. Right? The eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole world to show himself strong. Well, wait a minute. What about the rest of the book? Who's talking? Who's he talking to? You know, when I was confronted by the Jehovah's Witness today, that was a funny story, because they bypassed my house. I'm marked. I was outside, you can condemn me because you can say I was working. I was cleaning up my front yard because I wanted it to look presentable for anyone that may have been showing up today. So they walked past me, and I saw them. I'm like, yo, where you going? Am I not worthy of you talking to? And like, why would you walk past me? And the man said, came back, and I said, what am I, blackballed? Right? Yeah, being that I'm black, maybe they were just walking past me because I'm black. They were black, but whatever the reason was, they didn't want to come to me. And so when when I encouraged them to come and reason together, they're like, well, we got your addresses marked. Like, oh, so you blackballed me. You don't want to come and talk to me. You want to go talk to someone that doesn't read the book as opposed to someone that is in the book. I get it now. So I held him hostage for 2 hours. Hallelujah. And they were like running, trying to get away from me. No, it's Shabbat, perfect time to talk. You're better talking to me than going and deceiving somebody else. Hallelujah. Side note. My sea thought, right? So where are we at? In verse 9, and they taught Judah and had the Sefer, or the book of the law, the Torah, and they carried it with them. Hallelujah. I remember not too long ago, I got to go offline for a minute, off subject. I remember not too long ago a pastor getting upset because he had about 1,000 members showing up, and he looked around and nobody had a Bible. So he was like, for 2 weeks, he was encouraging people to bring the book because they were come to gather, but it was, it's party time, not time to get into the book. So it was odd to see someone actually walking through the church with a book in there, with a Bible in their hand. It's like they had time for anything but that. Okay, so here we go. So verse 12, Jehoshaphat's waxed exceedingly. So he grew as he grew. There you go. He started studying. He started having other people study. And people started giving to him, started blessing him because he was doing the work of Yah. All right, pick it up. Where we at? Verse 13. Let's pick it up at verse 13.
And he had much business in the cities of Yehuda, and the men of war, mighty men of valor, were in Jerusalem. And these are the numbers of them according to the house of their fathers. Of Yehuda, the captains of thousands, Adnah the chief, and with him mighty men of valor 300,000. And next to him was Yehochanan the captain, and with him 280,000. And next to him was Amichai, the son of Zichri, who willingly offered himself unto Yahuwah. And with him 200,000 mighty men of valor. And of Benjamin, Elidiah, a mighty man of valor, and with him armed men with bow and shield 200,000. And next to him was Jehozabad, and with him 180,000 ready prepared for the war. These waited on the king, beside those whom the king put in the fenced cities throughout all of Yehuda.
Now, we can go, I want to jump to chapter 19. There's a story that we're going to skip over, and only because of time, we're going to spend 5 hours reading through the book of Chronicles. But I want to, we established who Jehoshaphat was, right? And now we want to get into a situation where he's outnumbered. And how does he find, he's in the valley of decision, right? That's what we're looking at. So we're going to go to chapter 19 and start reading there, he comes back from a battle, and because he's walking with Yah, they keep winning. No matter what you do, if you walk with Yah, you keep winning, even if you win to death. Right? And that's where we have to get to that mindset that no matter what we do, we win. At the end, we win. Whether we see the victory on this side of glory or not, we still see the victory. Courageously, he walked with Yah. So chapter 19 of 2 Chronicles. And Jehoshaphat.
Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, returned in safety to his house in Jerusalem. But Jehu, the son of Hanani, the seer, went out to meet him and said to King Jehoshaphat, "Should you help the wicked and love those who hate Yahuwah? Because of this, wrath has gone out against you from Yahuwah. Nevertheless, some good is found in you, for you destroyed the Ashtaroth out of the land, and have set your heart to seek Elohim." Jehoshaphat lived at Jerusalem, and he went out again among the people from Beersheba to the hill country of Ephraim, and brought them back to Yahuwah, the Elohim of their fathers. He appointed judges in the land, in all the fortified cities of Judah, city by city, and said to the judges, "Consider what you do, for you judge not for man, but for Yahuwah. He is with you in giving judgment. Now then, let the fear of Yahuwah be upon you. Be careful what you do, for there is no injustice with Yahuwah or Elohim, or partiality, or taking bribes." Moreover, in Jerusalem, Jehoshaphat appointed certain Levites and priests and heads of families of Israel to give judgment to Yahuwah and to decide disputed cases. They had their seat at judgment, and he charged them, "Thus you shall do in the fear of Elohim, in faithfulness, with your whole heart. Whenever a case comes to you from the brothers who live in their cities concerning bloodshed, law, or commandment, statutes or rules, then you shall warn them, and that they may not incur guilt before Yahuwah, and wrath may not come upon you and your brothers. Thus you shall do, and you shall not incur guilt. And behold, Amariah, the chief priest, is over you in all the matters of Yahuwah, and Zebediah, the son of Ishmael, the governor of the house of Judah, in all the king's matters, and the Levites will serve you as officers. Deal courageously, and may Yahuwah be with the upright."
Okay, two things I want to bring to your attention. At the beginning of the verse of the chapter, what's his name, the prophet? A little louder. So the prophet comes, Yechezk'el. The prophet comes, and he rebukes him, which is one of the calls of the prophets to do that, right? He rebuked them and told them, "You know what? You're starting to pay more attention to the enemy than you are to Judah. What's up with that?" I love that. I love the fact that the prophet didn't have, he didn't take a bribe, which we talked about, which comes up later, right? He's like, I have to call it as I see it. And if you don't like it, so what? I have to be true to my calling. And so even talking to the king, he's able to rebuke him and tell him, because of this, you're going to get penalized, but not put to death, because you still do righteous. And what was the response from Jehoshaphat? Because he's openly being rebuked by the seer.
He appointed the judges, he took action to bring, the people back to Yah.
Exactly. You know what Moses was placed in the same situation where he was judging everybody, right? And Jethro came to him and said, "This is not good what you're doing. You can't do this. You can't judge all the people. You need to align people up and make sure that you have good judges, good lawyers, good people ahead of them, and to fill that gap. This Jehoshaphat basically must have been going back and reading the script and said, wait a minute, I can't do this by myself. I need good people. And we all do. We need good people around about us to judge the matter. So he found good people. He set them in place and set them in order. The kingdom is all disarray because there's not even today. We don't have good people setting up and setting everything back in order. So the first thing he did when he first reigned, he put up walls around his kingdom. And then here you find that he's like, okay, I got to make sure our house is in order. Before I can go out and do anything else, I have to put my house in order. Now, because he aligned himself with somebody and started doing some things, when you read through 16, 17, and 18, you're going to start seeing that he kind of went a little bit astray. But he put himself back in order, and he got his people back in order. And so here we go with verse chapter 20. This is where really as you look through the life of Jehoshaphat, you're going to start seeing this thing happen, and it happens in our life over and over again, where people want us to partner up with them, and it pulls us away, and we have to get back in order. It pulls us away. We live this life where sin is constantly coming in from the left and to the right, right? When he says straight and narrow is the way to Yahweh. And so when this stuff happens and we get pulled off course, we got to get ourselves back on course. So here we go. Verse 1 of chapter 20. It gets really good now.
It came to pass after this also that the children of Moab and the children of Ammon, and with them other beside the Ammonites, came against Jehoshaphat to battle.
Now, okay, so we talked about us aligning ourselves up. Now you're going to see all these other forces, other nations, all in elite, making allegiance with each other, a confederate against Jehoshaphat. Verse 2.
Then there came some that told Jehoshaphat, saying, there comes a great multitude against you from beyond the sea on this side of Aram, and behold, they be in Chetzat son Tamar, which is in Gedai. And Jehoshaphat feared, and set himself to seek Yahuwah, and proclaimed a fast throughout all Judah. And Yehudah gathered themselves together to ask help of Yahuwah. Even out of all the cities of Yehudah, they came to seek Yahuwah. And Jehoshaphat stood in the assembly of Yehudah and Jerusalem in the house of Yahuwah before the new court, and said, O Yahuwah Elohai of our fathers, are you not Elohim in heaven? And rule not you over all the kingdoms of the heathen? And in your hand is there not power and might, so that none is able to withstand you? Are you not our Elohim, who did drive out the inhabitants of this land before your people Israel, and gave it to the seed of Abraham, your friend forever?
Okay, so the kingdom of the heathen. I had to underline that when I looked at it. He says, are you not, verse 6? Read verse 6 again.
And said, O Yahuwah Elohai of our fathers.
This is his prayer.
Are you not Elohim in heaven?
You're the Elohim of heaven.
And rule not over over all the kingdoms of the heathen?
You rule over all the kingdoms of the heathen. So, no matter who is your king, who is your queen, wherever you are, there's one that rules over top of all of them. Because even the heart of the king is controlled by Yahweh. So, last week, President Trump says we are not going to have, what did he call it? A summit with North Korea. Then later on he says, okay, it's back on. Now we're going to have the summit. He doesn't know if he's going to have it. He's saying it now. He said it earlier, he wasn't. Guess what? If Yahweh wants this summit to take place, he's having the summit. Because he will allow it to happen. Because Yahweh rules over the kingdoms. We think in our little finite mind that we have control. We don't have control. Yahweh has control. Even over the kingdoms of the heathen. Okay. Art thou not, Arya? Go ahead. Verse 7.
Are not you our Elohim, who did drive out the inhabitants of this land before your people, Yisra'el, and give it to the seed of Abraham, your friend, forever?
And who is the seed of Abraham? We are the seed of Abraham. Right? So, he didn't say, did you not give the land to Abraham? He said, you gave the land to his seed. So the land is our land. Whether they want to acknowledge it now or want to acknowledge it later, it's our land. And guess what? This is all about us in our land. Continue. I told you it's about us.
And they dwelt therein, and have built you a sanctuary therein for your name, saying, if when evil comes upon us, as the sword, judgment, or pestilence, or famine, we stand before this house and in your presence.
Okay, I know I'm going to interrupt you in the middle of the verse. Where have we ever seen these, the signs here? The sword. Read that again, the first half.
If when evil comes upon us, as the sword,
judgment,
or pestilence, or famine.
Where have we seen this before?
When Moses was in Egypt, right? The plagues.
The plagues. Deuteronomy 28 lays out those same 4 judgments. Who was Solomon? When Solomon prayed and he said, when he dedicated the temple, he said, if the people are, and then he names these 4 plagues, these 4 situations. So this is not new, right? The sword, judgment, pestilence, and famine. Okay? So finish that. We stand before you in this house.
And in your presence. For your name is in this house, and a cry unto you in our affliction. Then you will hear and help. Okay,
so the issue is, before we go any further, is that most of us do not see or realize that we are in that affliction. It's not. This is us today, right? Even if you're living in a good, nice, clean house, look at your people. It's not about you. Look at your people. Your people are still suffering. They've changed laws to create a new way of slavery, right? They changed the laws so that we are in a situation where most of us feel like we almost have to beg for food, right? Famine, right? Judgment, because we're not walking right. And so the judgment has to come upon us. Pestilence, It's all upon us. That's why we are suffering with AIDS and other diseases, because we are not walking right. Read.
We stand before this house and in your presence,
And we cry.
for your name is in this house, and cry unto you in our affliction. Then you will hear and help. And now, behold, the children of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, whom you would not let Israel invade, when they came out of the land of Egypt, but they turned from them and destroyed them not. Behold, I say, how they reward us to come to cast us out of your possession, which you have given us to inherit. O our Elohim, will you not judge them? For we have no might against this great company that comes against us. Neither know we what to do, but our eyes are upon you.
All right, so this is our situation. We didn't do anything to these people. Literally, this is the prayer. The people that we actually, that are coming against them, were people that we never even did anything with. Matter of fact, y'all said don't even mess with them. Leave them alone. He directed our path, the ways of the righteous man. The footsteps of the righteous man are ordered by Yah. He put us in a path. He led us by a cloud of fire in the day, and a cloud of in front of us, over top of us, behind us, and kind of captured us and said, "Go this way." And we stayed there. We did whatever. If he said go right, the cloud led us right. We went right. It said these people were in existence. He said, "Don't even mess with them. Leave them alone." He had the power to destroy them. He could have just said, "Army, go up to Mount Syria, wherever, and destroy." He didn't say that. He said, "Leave them alone." So we left them alone, and yet they attacked us. We're in the land now. This nation, a nation and a nation, our nation sits in a land of people that we didn't do anything to them, and yet they come against us in a serious force. Our people, not me. They're not attacking at my door today, right? But they're attacking us as a people, and it's happening day by day. Was it just yesterday that I read that they killed this guy because he had a gun in his hand? No, wrong. That's the testimony that they shared. The gun was in his back pocket, unloaded. He was closing the garage door. The police officer shot through the door and killed him. When they took it to trial, and they said, well, that we have to do an investigation, they said he was justified in killing him because the guy had a gun. Even though there was a door between the two of them, he was justified in shooting. Okay, so this happens every day. We see these stories. We hear the storyline. The mother goes to court.
That's them phones. Keep messing around. It's crazy.
I'm turning my phone off because I think I'm being bugged. So the storyline continues. She has to go to court. They found the officer not guilty, but they awarded her a reward. They compensated her because it was her and her 2 children. This is the United States. This is what they did for her. They awarded her $4. She got $1 for each of one of her kids. That's so crazy. That if you're going to do anything, that's like, why would you do that? That's like spitting on the grave, right? Why do you put someone through the agony and yet you find yourself not guilty after you do that? This is where we are at. This is where we're at. So you can't look at this and not see us. Verse, where are we at? 13. Read 13. I'm going to be quiet for a minute. Verse 13. And all Judah.
And all Judah stood before Yahuwah with their little ones, their women, and their children. Then upon Yechezk'el, the son of Zechariah, the son of Beniyahu, the son of Yisra'el, the son of Mattanyahu, a Levite of the sons of Akaf, came the Ruach Yahuwah in the midst of the assembly.
Oh. Before we get to the Ruach, go back to 12. Somebody.
Oh, our Elohim.
Our Elohim.
Will you not judge them?
Judge them.
For we have no might against this great company that comes against us.
We are weak. We have no might. Now we've already established he built a kingdom. He had walls, right? Why did he say we have no might? That those that are strong, what was the verse? Those that are weak, huh?
Those are weak. Let those that are weak say I'm strong.
Right. He looked and he said, we have no might. In other words, he wasn't saying he didn't have any might. They could have defended some of this. They could have defended maybe a day or something. They realized that the battle is not ours. The battle is Yah's. Even the way we stand today in the nation in the nation, we have no might. We really have no might. I heard my friend Morey Dowie talk about they have almost weapons size of a mosquito. Can bring it inside your house, sting, and you dead. Right? We have no might against this. Whatever, they could just turn the water off. They could just say, you know what? Everybody in this area, let's shut down their water. Let's see how well they do then. They'll be running to Walmart trying to get as much water as you can. And they tell them, don't sell water to them. They can shut. We have no might. We really don't. This battle's not ours. We can't go out, everybody get a 45 and an M16. We have no might. They would destroy us in an instant if it was their battle, their strength and our strength, right? And we don't even know what to do. Verse 12. We don't even know what to do. We wouldn't know how to fight this battle. We've seen it before. As soon as we try to stand up, we get shot down. We have no might and we don't know what to do. 15.
And he said, hearken ye, all Judah, and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, and you King Jehoshaphat. Thus says Yahuwah unto you, be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but Elohim's. Tomorrow go ye down against them. Behold, they come up by the cliff of Ziz, and ye shall find them at the end of the brook, before the wilderness of Jericho, of Yisra'el. Ye shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourselves, stand ye still, and see the Yeshua of Yahuwah with you.
Okay, so I messed up. Go back to 14.
Then upon Yechezk'el, the son of Zechariah, the son of Beniyahu, the son of Yisra'el, the son of Mattanyahu, a Levite of the sons of Akaf, came the Ruach Yahuwah.
All right. So there it is. Now, I need to go back and trace this person because the Ruach landed on him, right? But yet, it didn't just say that the Ruach landed on him. It gave clear detail that he was the son of, the son of, the son of, the son of. So, I got to go back this week and check out who is he the son of? Because for whatever reason, the Ruach came upon him in the midst of the congregation. And when the Ruach takes over, it's over. It's all over. So when we read this, right, there's something special about this because when we go to Acts 2, right, the day of Pentecost, the Ruach comes. When we go to Joel, right, it's all about the Ruach taking over, right? The battle's not ours. The battle is Yahweh. Okay, go ahead. So we're going to go back to
16.
Okay, we'll go to 16 and redo that again. So listen. Tomorrow
Tomorrow go you down against them. Behold, they come up by the cliff of Zeetz, and you shall find them at the end of the brook before the wilderness of Yisra'el. Ye shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourselves, stand ye still, and see the Yeshua of Yahuwah with you. And Yehuda and Jerusalem, fear not, nor be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them, for Yahuwah will be with you. And Jehoshaphat bowed his head with his face to the ground, and all of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem fell before Yahuwah, worshiping Yahuwah. And the Levites of the children of the Kohathites and of the children of the Korhites stood up to praise Yahuwah Elohim of Yisra'el with a loud voice on high.
Okay, so weird, right? Because all of a sudden a jam session broke out. A jam session in worship of Yahuwah. So the way Yah works is not our way. Our ways are way above our ways. The first thing he says he does is he talks to one person and he tells them the Ruach starts taking over, right? He gives him the message. And then because everybody is so sensitive to the Ruach, because they have been studying and they have been reading and listening to the word, that when one person speaks and they know, they are all sensitized. They know, oh, that's the Ruach. And then now out of that, Jehoshaphat says, okay, now we need to start praying. They all come together. They're all on what? One accord. They're all unified. And what's going on even today, because everyone is aware that Judah is waking up. Everyone, it was what were you reading today? Was it Wall Street, or what were you reading? You said that the guy that sang that song.
Oh no, that was something from Christianity Today, or one of those who said that
our walk is
the other guy who just won the
Pulitzer
Prize, or Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar.
All these people are coming to this faith because they're following Kendrick Lamar.
What a joke! What a joke!
But
Go ahead, talk to us.
no, the crazy thing is that I remember seeing when that lyric started circulating, and there were a lot of people that were like, "Yeah, is obviously
Using
going
him.
to use him to
Right.
bring this walk to people's attention,"
Right.
and there's gonna be there will be too many people. Like Kendrick Lamar is so famous. There will be too many people who can't say they never heard.
They never heard.
Because
Lauren said the same thing to me.
And it's, I mean, clearly you can't be like, oh, Kendrick's. I mean, you know, but it's just.
They're trying to
Justify.
yeah
Make
find
sense of it.
make sense of it, and also at the same time, I think to try to dissuade people who think that they're just following this entertainer, and it's not it's not good.
So Kendrick Lamar, did I say his name right?
Close. Kendrick.
Close enough,
Kendrick.
right? Hallelujah for him, because he puts out a album, and because he has such a large following, people are going to start investigating, and even a lot of Hebrews have said that's got to be the act of Yah. And so now they're like curious, but guess what? He's not the root. He's not the source. The source is Yahweh. He's opening our eyes. And as he opens our eyes, I'm preaching it to him because I'm so excited about it. As he's opening our eyes, what is one of the key things to us as we waken up, as we awaken? There's a new gender of music out, right? Gender? Genre. I'm going to get it right. Genre. Oh, gender's not. There's a new genre out, right? So we did the hip hop, we did the rap music, right? And everybody jumps on board because they're excited, right? Now you know that there's music that has never been like mainstream, right? It's Judah music, right? We're waking up, and now you're starting to hear it come, and you'll probably hear it on the mainstream radio stations eventually, because as we awaken, the one thing that has to occur is this loud praise. I had to say loud praise. Like we're Yahoo! We don't mind shouting out to Yahweh, right? And as we shout and as the praise gets louder, there's two things that has to occur. First, the shout has to occur and the cry has to occur, because people have to start realizing that we're in anguish, we're in pain. We need Yahweh to deliver us. And when we shout to him and when we praise to him, his deliverance comes. And his deliverance is not the same as he's not coming with guns and bullets. He's coming with might that only can be acknowledged that it's him. You're going to know it's him. Okay, continue.
And they rose early in the morning and went forth into the wilderness of Tekoa. And as they went forth, Jehoshaphat stood and said, Hear me, O Judah, and you inhabitants of Jerusalem. Believe in Yahuwah Elohim, so shall ye be established. Believe his prophets, so shall you prosper. And when he had consulted with the people, he appointed singers unto Yahuwah, and that should praise the beauty of holiness, as they went out before the army, and to say, Praise Yahuwah, for his mercy endures forever.
His mercy endures forever. That's a Psalms.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody remember that psalm?
Isn't that 119?
It says this is 106 and 1.
Oh, okay.
Find it and read that for me. And while you're going there,
At the end of every verse in that psalm, it says his mercy endures forever.
because we're going to read through that. But verse 20, anybody see anything weird in that? Verse 20:20. You got to have 20:20 vision, right? In Yah.
It says Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm. Got up early in the morning. Where did they go?
To the wilderness of Tekoa.
Into the wilderness. Isn't that crazy? They went into the wilderness like deliverance. Remember deliverance? When we were delivered, where did we go? Into the wilderness, right? I believe that there's a calling on a lot of his people, and they're coming out of the cities and setting up camp in the wilderness, into Gershom, into areas outside of the populated area. There's a reason for that. And that may be kind of, that's a hint, right? That he's saying there that they went into the wilderness, right? Because a lot of us are feeling that urge, like, to get away from the city for one reason or the other. But they're moving into the wilderness, right? Into least populated areas. Okay, so did someone find that Psalms? You got it, Enrique?
Well, it just says 106:1, but it says, praise Yahuwah, oh give thanks to Yahuwah, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever. Read the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's long.
Is it long?
Yeah.
Does it? And it keeps saying, "And His mercy endure
No,
forever."
that's not
This is not this one.
Oh, this.
In this, I don't know, for this Bible, it pulled back, it said compare it to.
Okay.
To that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
So
And that was Psalms what?
106:1.
106:1. There's another one though that reads, "And He delivered His people, and His mercy endure forever." And He did. We'll find it. Psalms 136.
Yeah, that's where it is. Give thanks to Yah, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever. Give thanks to Yah, or give thanks to the God of gods, for his steadfast love endures forever. Give thanks to the Lord of lords, for his steadfast love endures forever. To him who alone does great wonders, for his steadfast love endures forever. To him who by understanding made the heavens, for his steadfast love endures forever. To him who spread out the earth above the waters, for his steadfast love endures forever. To him who made the great lights, for his steadfast love endures forever. The sun to rule over the day, for his steadfast love endures forever. The moon and the stars to rule over the night, for his steadfast love endures forever. To him who struck down the firstborn of Egypt, for his steadfast love endures forever, and brought Israel out from among them, for his steadfast love endures forever. With a strong hand and outstretched arm, for his steadfast love endures forever. To him who divided the Red Sea in two, for his steadfast love endures forever, and made Israel pass through the midst of it, for his steadfast love endures forever. But overthrew Pharaoh and his host in the Red Sea, for his steadfast love endures forever. To him who led his people through the wilderness, for his steadfast love endures forever. To him who struck down great kings, for his steadfast love endures forever, and killed mighty kings, for his steadfast love endures forever. Sihon, king of the Amorites, for his steadfast love endures forever, and Og, king of Bashan, for his steadfast love endures forever, and gave their land as a heritage, for his steadfast love endures forever, a heritage of Israel, to Israel his servant, for his steadfast love endures forever. It is he who remembered us in our low estate, for his steadfast love endures forever, and rescued us from our foes, for his steadfast love endures forever. He who gives food to all flesh, for his steadfast love endures forever. Give thanks to the Elohim of heaven, for his steadfast love endures forever.
Do it forever, forever. That sounds like that needs to be sung and do a remix. Yeah, because his steadfast love endureth forever. His mercy endureth forever. His mercy endureth forever. You want to repeat it because that's what they did. They repeated it and they did it so loud. They probably was out there shouting, and his steadfast love, his mercy endureth forever. His mercy endureth forever. His mercy endureth forever. By the time they got done, his mercy, give me some water. His mercy endureth forever. Right? That's a jam right there. They were having a jam session for Yah. His mercy endured forever. They didn't have to pick up anything but the lyrics. His mercy endured forever. 22.
And when they began to sing and to praise, Yahuwah set ambushments against the children of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, which were come against Yehudah, and they were smitten. For the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, utterly to slay and destroy them. And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, everyone helped to destroy one another.
They all help. What is ambushments?
They attacked. A whole group of people ambushed somebody.
Yeah.
Go after them.
The worst thing that you want to do in all of the kingdom of anybody is to attack Yah's people. When Yah's people wake up and start praying, the results are these people actually killing themselves. We are literally seeing this stuff happening, but we don't pay attention to it. When someone walks into the school and starts shooting up a dozen people, these people are literally killing themselves. We have no idea how many killings that are occurring in the United States where they're just killing each other. We don't have to fight this battle because the battle is not ours. But the enemy, read the end of that verse.
It says, and when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, everyone helped to destroy another.
They all joined in. They helped out. Help a brother out. HBO, right? Help a brother out. They helped us out without even us. All we did was we were still jamming. We were still going, His mercy endure forever. His mercy endure forever. We were still jamming. Meanwhile, they're killing each other. And ambushment is can be distinguished as one person killing another person, and it also can be a trap. You know, when the earth opens up, when Hawaii burns down, when all these are ambushments, that when Yah decides to fight for his people, he's going to use everything he has. When we talk about everything, his weapons surpass anything that man has. If he wants to set fire on a city, he has set fire on the city. His ambushments are not man-made ambushments. They're ambushments where you're going to see stuff happening. And I believe that when he outstretches his arms a second time to release his people, when he visits Judah and the imprisonment that we're in, the captivity that we're in, and he says, okay, it's time. When he outstretches his arms a second time, his ambushments are going to be stuff we have never seen before. We've seen tornadoes come. We've seen in recent history where 5 or 6 tornadoes come the same time. But when he outstretches his arms, we're going to see stuff we've never seen before. You thought 9/11 was bad? We're going to see some stuff happening. His ambushments, you think because 100 people are dying a day because of drug overdose? You don't know what's coming. But he's going to protect his people. And we are his people. He's coming back. But when we say he's coming back, it's not coming back the way that Christianity depicts him coming back. He's coming back. And when he comes back, he's bringing back all his ambushments. And guess what? The people will be killing each other. And we'll be that's why we need to get out of serving in the military. Back away from all of our alliance with them and allow them to go and do what they have to do. Because it is predicted that they're going to do this. Okay, where are we at? Destroying one another. And then Judah?
And when Judah came toward the watchtower in the wilderness, they looked into the multitude, and behold, they were dead bodies fallen to the earth, and none escaped. And when Jehoshaphat and his people came to take away the spoil of them, they found among them in abundance both riches with the dead bodies, and precious jewels, which they stripped off for themselves, more than they could carry away. And they were 3 days in gathering of the spoil, it was so much. And on the 4th day they assembled themselves in the valley of Barakat, and there they blessed Yahuwah. Therefore the name of the same place was called the valley of Barakat unto this day. Then they returned, every man of Judah and Jerusalem, and Jehoshaphat in the forefront of them, to go again to Jerusalem with joy. For Yahuwah had made them to rejoice over their enemies. And they came to Jerusalem with psalteries and harps and trumpets unto the house of Yahuwah. And the fear of Elohim was on all the kingdoms of those countries, when they had heard that Yahuwah fought against the enemies of Israel. So the realm of Jehoshaphat was quiet, for his Elohim gave him rest round about. And
Okay, so he gave him rest after the battle. There's going to come a time, and this is for the lost tribe, because there's going to come a time when there's going to be fear struck in the hearts of anyone that looks at us. They're going to be like, wow, now you good. And whereas guns are being pulled out, knives and dogs and everything else is being pulled out, there's going to be a fear. If you look back, because the Bible is cyclical, right? If you look back and you see when they went and spied out the land, and they realized that, oh, you guys are from the tribe of Judah? Oh, snap. Your God fights for you. Didn't your God did this? Your God split the ocean? Your God did this, did that? And they started recanting the history. And they were aware that I better fear you because your God will destroy me. And that is going to come back. And when it comes back, it's going to be like everyone that sees us will have a trembling in their heart to say, oh, that's y'all's people. Because they don't have any fear now. But we have to walk right. And when we start walking right and we start crying out and Yah answers our prayers, they will realize that these are the people of the book. And hey, when he stretches out his hands, because we don't see how this unfolds, like them giving up their wealth to us. But that happens. It happened before. It's going to happen again. It happened in Jerusalem. It happened in Egypt, right? When it was time for us to come up out of Egypt, they were like, here, take everything. Here's some of our gold. Here's everything. Just go. Some of them were like, can I go? And they jumped on board with us, right? In this storyline, only 3 days, them grabbing stuff as much as they could grab. They got all the wealth. They already had wealth, right? The wealth that was handed to Jehoshaphat was now poured out onto the people. So the people had the wealth, right? They came out a wealthy people. When we come out, as bad as we've been and as poor as we've been, we're going to walk out wealthy. It's in the book. And so the worst thing you can do now is lock up the preachers, the ones that are preaching the book, because it's happened before. But all we're going to do is continue to preach and teach, thus saith the word. Okay? And so at the end of this storyline, we've come this far by faith. Let's finish it up, because there's something at the end that I want to bring to your attention. Right? And Jehoshaphat reigned over Judah. Go ahead.
He was 35 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azuvah, and the daughter of Shilchai.
Okay, so I do want to stop here, because I said when his dad died, he was paying close attention to what was going on. Now you see the age of him. He wasn't a kid trying to figure out what's happening. He was 35 years old watching his dad and what occurred in his dad's life. 35 is a good age to really get a good grip of what's going on in life. Right? He's not a kid trying to figure it out. He saw what was occurring. And so at that point he started. And for 25, was it 20?
25 years.
25 years he reigned. Okay? So continue. And then it talked about his mom. I love the way Yah will allow someone to get their credit, and they're basically in the back scene, not really up front. And a lot of times there's people in the back pushing and pulling wires, but they are just as instrumental and not forgotten by Yah. So much that he mentions her and her mother's name to let you know that those people have not been forgotten. So you may not be on being recorded, you may not be on the stage, but Yah is not forgotten. He never forgets. He's writing it down, and you're putting it in script, so you know that he is paying attention.
It's like the mother is always a child's first teacher. The one guy that we listed recently said first rabbi, first teacher, first moray is a mother. So for her name to be mentioned and for him to have a heart toward Yah, it probably is just an accreditation of she raised him right.
Amen.
And it doesn't always matter if the father isn't doing something that he should be doing. Mom is teaching along the way.
That's so important, because even Moses, when he was born, who reared Moses? His mom, right? That's so important, because we take our kids now and try to put them in daycare, find somebody that's watching our kids. If, by the grace of Yah, if you're capable of staying home with your children, that is so important for the child, because the child is learning from their number one moray, their number one teacher is mommy. And so it was so important that he took the one that everyone honors and admires, Moses, and made sure in the whole layout that mom was able to take care of him. So she's the one that gave him the root. That's why when he got of age and he saw what was going on with his people, he realized that they were his people. Okay, all right. So 24. I'm going to sneak back to 24 real quick, because still in verse 20.
Chapter 20.
Still in chapter 20. But go back to 24. But it said that what?
When Judah came to the watchtower of the wilderness, they looked toward the horde, and behold, there were dead bodies lying on the ground. None had escaped.
They built in the wilderness, right? It said they went to the wilderness. They built a watchtower. So they were in the wilderness. They were jamming and they were building something, so when they got a chance to look, they could look down onto the destruction. I just wanted to bring that out because they were in the wilderness. There was some stuff happening in the wilderness that we need to think about. Okay? So where are we at, hon? I'm sorry I interrupted you.
32.
Verse 32.
He walked in the way of Asa his father, and did not turn aside from it, doing what was right in the sight of Yahweh. The high places, however, were not taken away. The people had not yet set their hearts upon the Elohim of their fathers. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, from first to last, are written in the chronicles of Jehu, the son of Hanani, which are recorded in the book of the kings of Israel. After this, Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, joined with Ahaziah, king of Israel, who acted wickedly.
Whoa. Why? Don't you want to say why? You want to say why? Why did you do this? This is exactly what your daddy did. Right? Why did he do this? Go ahead, Henrika. Doesn't it ask you a question? Doesn't it make you like? To me, it makes me scream. Right? Like, come on, man. And you know what? It's not just him. We all do it. We all do it. We all have something that in us that make us want to do exactly that.
What I see here is that they were him and the people, when they were in a tough place, they called out to Yahweh like we do. But they still never took away, and I think verse 33 is key. Mm-hmm. They never took away the high places.
The high places.
They ran to him when things got tough, but then they went back to their high places when things were going smoothly. And when you do that, it's easy to get caught up with something or somebody that's not right.
And this is the message, and the lesson is the valley of decision, right? We make choices. We make choices like, yeah, but does it take all that? It don't take all that, right? And then we end up picking up something that we sat down. Or we partner up with somebody like, it's been peaceful now. Things are good. Everything's been working out really fine for me. And someone comes along and says, oh, what about such and such? And you're like, can't believe it's so bad. He had already been pre-warned earlier. And that's why I brought that up. He had been pre-warned by the seer earlier. Right? But because judgment is not always readily available or does not occur immediately, we act like, maybe God's going to wink on it again. Right? He had already been prejudged. Been warned. And then after the warning, right after the warning, all these kingdoms align themselves and come up against him, which was because of what he did earlier. Right? And so now he goes back and he does something he does something again. It's like we are a stiff-necked people, even when we find the righteous, and I find it in myself. I'm not saying it's everybody else. It's all of us. We all go back. We all go back, and we find, and it's in our nature of when things are easy and soft or smooth. We feel like we got it made. But we all have to challenge ourselves. You got a question?
I'll wait.
All right. So here we go. Lauren just started reading and I interrupted her. I'm sorry.
I'll finish the chapter, verse 36. He joined him in building ships to go to Tarshish, and they built the ships in Ezion-Geber. Then Eliezer, the son of Dodavahu of Mareshah, prophesied against Jehoshaphat, saying, because you have joined with Ahaziah, Elohim will destroy what you have made. And the ships were wrecked and were not able to go to Tarshish.
Okay, in the next verse, we're out of the chapter, but we're going to read the next verse.
Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David, and Jehoram his son reigned in his place.
So that's the end of the story of Jehoshaphat. And I really wanted to bring this because when we were in the book of Joel, right, it talks about the valley of decision. And we have to come over here and do an investigation of the life. And there's more, because we could have read in the books of Kings. It talks about Jehoshaphat as well, right? But, and there were chapters in this that we didn't read through because of a matter of timing. But I wanted to just get you a feel of where we are as a people. Because this whole book of Joel, chapter 3, is all about us. And so when he says that he'll put a hook in their jaw and draw all these people into the valley of decision of Jehoshaphat, right? So this is what he's doing to the heathen nations. But I wanted to just turn the camera around and look at Judah and see where we are. See, it's easy to point at other people for their wrong and their atrocities and say, I don't believe you're doing that to my people. But the atrocities sometimes are because of what we're doing. And so we have to make the decision to get out of the turmoil that we're in. And how do we get out of it? We're literally in the valley of decision. If you are walking, if you're going to, if you're living today, 2018, and you're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, then you are actually in default. The only way you can get right with Yah is that you start keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Start going back into the book and start doing the commandments. Doing what he's crying out to Judah for us to make right. Or you're going to find yourself basically on the ship. You know, these ships, they're a shipwreck. You're going to be just like that. You're going to have a shipwrecked faith. You have to keep the commandments. You have to turn to his son, Yeshua, and believe in what he's done for us. Believe that he is the captain of our vessel. I'm going to use the analogy of ships, right? That he is the captain of our vessel, to walk right and not allow the things around us to pull us away from him. So, yeah, this is the end of our Shabbat lesson for today. Hopefully you've gotten something out of it. Now we open the doors to questions. Any questions?
I've been stuck on recently looking at the Moabites and the Ammonites, and that they just keep their reoccurring enemies of Yah. But going back to tracking where they're from from Lot and his daughters,
Mm-hmm.
and they slept with him, and then they both had sons. One was Moab and one was Ammon, or Ben-Ami, his father, who became the father of the Ammonites. But then you go to I'm telling you, I've been tracking. I got
Track them down, Lord.
Ezekiel, or 2 Samuel. It was there is another part where they're talking about trying to figure out Joab fought against Rabbah, the Ammonites. So I was like, okay, the Ammonites are there. And then if I go back to Deuteronomy 3 and Ezekiel 25 and Deuteronomy 23, these are all just my little notes. It's like the Ammonites, again, are trying to attack us. So it's like the Edomites, but also, because we know the Edomites are our enemy, but the Ammonites and the Moabites. And thinking of the situation that the Moabites and the Ammonites came out of with Lot, it's like their sins of their father are tracking and keep going on, and they keep coming against us. I don't know who the Ammonites and the Moabites are now, modern day, but we do know that they are our enemy. And they're basically, Deuteronomy 23, that's where I was getting at, 23, it says, no Ammonite or Moabite may enter the assembly of Yahuwah, even to the 10th generation. None of them may enter the assembly of Yahuwah forever. We also know that Ruth was a Moabite, so there's that kind of, he allows for some people to get in, but it's basically like they're eternally damned, and there is a people group that's like eternally damned.
And what verse was that? Chapter?
That's Deuteronomy 23.
Deuteronomy 28? 23.
Because they didn't, it says, because they did not meet you with bread and with water on the way when you came out of Egypt, and because they hired you, against you Balaam, the son of Beor, from Pithor of Mesopotamia, to curse you. So it's like, you read through Torah and you find Ammonites and Moabites continuously being cursed and cursing us.
These same people didn't greet us. But it's kind of crazy because these same people did not greet us, but yet Yah says, don't even mess with them. Leave them alone. Like he didn't want you to, that's pretty bad. Like, I don't want to kill them, and I don't want you going into their land and taking the spoils. No, that's bad. I don't even want you near them. And then when you went past them, they didn't even come out and say, oh, look, the children of Yisra'el, let's give them some water. Which Yah felt offended by that, because they didn't even want to acknowledge them. But why is it, and I have some thought patterns in my head, why is it that he wouldn't even give them the privilege of fighting them, or like even walking on their land? I think that I think you just mumbled the word. I think they were just evil.
Yeah, because of how they came about. They came out of an abomination, so
right.
They're like destined to be evil, because his Lot just had sex with his kids and they had children. That's a damnable curse according to Torah.
Isn't that like Ham?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same deal.
Yeah.
I mean, some people don't agree, but I mean, curse be Canaan. Why? like what did Canaan do? Canaan didn't do what Ham did. Canaan is the product of Ham.
Mm-hmm.
So Moab is the product of Lot.
Now the issue is, and I know that there's some people who would like to fight with me on this. There are some people that are raised up for our destruction, or for our judgment. That Yah has actually raised people up to penalize us because of our, yes?
I was going to read Ezekiel 21, because that also talks about the Ammonites.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 28. It says, and you, son of man, prophesy and say, thus says Yahuwah Elohim concerning the Ammonites and concerning their reproach. A sword is drawn for their slaughter. It is polished to consume and flash like lightning. While they see for you false visions, while they divine lies for you, to place you on the necks of the profane wicked, whose day has come, the time of their final punishment. So they're plotting against us, like you were saying.
And it's funny because outside of Judah, there are a lot of people who want to open up this. A lot of people open this up and they want to prophesy. But I've seen a pattern. I'm 60 years old. I've seen a pattern in recent history of people predicting the end times. Over and over and over. It's going to happen today. It's going to happen next week. And they open this book and they come up with a prophecy saying that Jesus is coming back. And they tell us when, and it doesn't occur, and in due time somebody else. How many times have we heard
May 28th, September 23rd, September 16th.
this?
And it's billboards.
They put it on billboards. They put it everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Who does this? And now they make movies, Left Behind.
Right.
They write books.
Right.
And I believe that a lot of these people are the people that are set up. My son says something like this. Dad, they set me up for failure. Guess what? A lot of them are set up for failure. I'm not pulling anybody's. I'm not going to say anyone's name. I'm being nice today. I'm not saying a denomination. Fill in the blanks.
Right.
I'll say a name, but I won't say a person's name. Family Radio. Fill in the blanks. Right? Because there's a people that think they have the answer. And the worst case scenario is to think you have the puzzle fixed, and you don't. You think that you have it together, but apparently somebody's lying, because your truth. We went over before we opened the. We went online. We did the word truth.
Oh yeah. This is from Holder's page, but it's really good breakdown.
Truth. What is the word truth? Amet. Amet. Right? The Hebrew word truth. And it's 3 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. I was like, this is so phenomenal. Right? It's the first letter. Aleph. It's the last letter. Tav. I should have did that backwards because I went left to right. And the middle letter. Mem.
Mem.
So you take those 3 letters, and when you put them together, it's truth. Isn't it crazy?
Oh, I meant Aleph, Mem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it?
I
That's
get
truth.
It's easy to, yeah.
Once you, with the letters.
So truth is yesterday, today, and forever. Truth never changes. Right? So our lesson plan today before we started this was finding the word truth. And as we went through it, we realized that, wait a minute, you take part of truth and call it truth. Because if you take away the first letter of truth, what do you have? Death.
Yeah. Which is met.
Met. So death. If you take literally the first letter, which is the first letter represents Yah. So if you take Yah away,
Right.
you have death.
Right.
That's crazy.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what part of the book has most of Yah's, the mention of Yah in it?
The beginning.
Isn't it crazy?
The vast majority of the book.
The vast portion of the book. I have one right here. I'm divided for you. So I'm almost there.
Yeah.
Right.
Keep
Okay.
going.
Okay, so right there. So can you see this? This part here that I'm holding up is the part that has all of the works of Yah. Right? without the New Testament. This is the Old Testament. This part has the works of Yeshua, right? Who says, I am the truth, right? If you take that apart, that's how much of the truth that you believe. Because this is the work of Yah. Put it all together, now you have truth.
Plus some that are not.
Plus some.
There.
So I actually take this and put, it's bigger, right? Because it has all of the books, right? This one has, you see the difference? This one has a portion of the truth and remove the other books. You know, when it says do not remove. Okay, remove some of the book. So when you put it all back together, now you have truth.
Context.
The whole context. Everything. And put it all together. So yes, I believe in Jesus. Or Yeshua. Sorry for saying Jesus. Yes, I believe in Yeshua. But I believe in the entire book.
Well, if he says he's the way, the truth, and the life, and you don't believe in the full truth, then you can't believe in Jesus or Yeshua. If you don't even know Torah, you're not keeping Torah, because he is Torah, the Word made flesh.
Yeah, he is Torah, the Word made flesh, dwelt amongst you. So you can walk, you can look at him as a human. You can look at his physical body and say, what is truth? How do you do that? Because in flesh, all you see is what you see in front of you. If it's not being activated by the Ruach, you know, where we just read about what happened in Jehoshaphat's life, right? If it's not activated by the Ruach, then all you're seeing is the physical, not the spiritual. And what we talked about in the lesson plan is if you don't activate, or what you do in the spiritual activates the physical, it all comes together, right? That's why the sicknesses. That's why the ailments in the mind, ailments in the heart, ailments in the tongue, is because your physical has to align with the spiritual. And so when you put it all together, you start studying the Word, and you start putting it all together, you come out with what happened in Jehoshaphat's life. They started seeing it, and it manifested itself in the physical. So all they had to do was walk in there and take the gold, because the spiritual had manifested itself in the flesh. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. We'll see you next week. Shalom.